Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Rachel Newville. Wake Up Vermillion is here to bring large topics to small conversations that we hope will relate to students across campus. Living in a social media age, we are constantly bombarded with information that can make it hard to know where to focus our attention. Our goal is to bring subjects that aren't often talked about to light and encourage students to have open, accurate conversations. This is intended to be a program for students by students. We want to know what you think. We want to talk about issues relevant to USD students, and that starts with you. Please contact us on social media with your thoughts, questions, and ideas. Today, we will be talking about social media's influence on our everyday behaviors and relationships. I am joined by Student Body President Josh Sorby and fellow media student Keaton Dieter to discuss social media habits. They offer unique insight into the way college students use social media in different ways. In August, the Journal of Behavioral Addictions reported those who use social media excessively respond the same way to brain testing as those who use opioids, cocaine, and methamphetamine. Do you guys think this is an exaggeration comparing social media use to drug addictions?
I think it's a slight exaggeration, but I think that there can be a correlation made because the way that people respond to that dopamine rush of getting that notification is, similar in some ways to someone doing drugs and having that same rush, but I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but I can also see why people would make that connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and producers in Silicon Valley know what their technology products are capable of. I was watching a TED Talk one time, and they were talking about how a lot of time when sales reps give pitches, they say, this product is so great that even I use it and my kids use it. Mm-hmm. But recently reports have been found that producers of Apple products and Samsung products actually either limit their kids' time or don't let them use them at all because they know that these products do have addictive causes and kind of mental health side effects. So I can definitely see how that correlation is there.
Yeah. So what does your guys' daily social media use look like, personally?
Personally, I mostly use Snapchat and Twitter. I like to go on Snapchat just to kind of get my fix, talk to my friends. I check Instagram every once in a while, but I would say I'm mostly on Twitter, as most people hate me for.
That's the beauty of Apple's new screen time features. You can see exactly where you are, when you are on your cell phone, and what apps you pull up right when you do it. I usually average about 5.5 to 6 hours a day on social media, and most of it's Snapchat and Twitter. Twitter's how I consume all my news, so I'd say that's definitely the app that I use the most.
Yeah. So what is the process you guys go through when you post on social media? Like when you're picking a picture to post on Instagram or coming up with a tweet or a caption for Instagram or Facebook, what's your process there?
It honestly just depends. It depends on what the mood is. A lot of the times I like to post things that reflect who I am. As a person, I post a lot of stuff about values. I like quoting a lot of TED Talks. So on Twitter, a lot of times I'm quoting things that offer some sort of new perspective on something that we see every day. Whereas on Instagram, a lot of it's just went out with my friends this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. Here it is.
Yeah, if you guys follow me on social media, I pretty much caption my pictures, whatever. I don't think about it at all. I just post it. And then I never think about my tweets. I just kind of throw them out there. And so it's I think a lot of people think I'm in my room, what am I going to tweet? But really, it's more just me being wow, that's kind of funny. All right, I'll tweet it. I don't really think about it.
Yeah, a lot of the times, it's just me, shouting into this filter bubble and, seeing what I can get back out of it. Usually, it's just whatever comes to my head is what I decide to put on the internet.
So, do you guys think that if you were involved in different groups on campus, that your social medias would be different? So say you were the student body president, Keaton, and say, Josh, you were the char DJ. And you were the char DJ. Do you think your social media accounts would look the same?
No.
How would they be different?
I would last one day. They'd be like, who is this guy? I'd be a lot more professional. The thing I noticed about Josh is I think he's very careful about what he does, and all of his moves, not in a bad way, seem kind of calculated. Mm-hmm. And when you are the head of a student body, you have to think about stuff like that. Yeah. Whereas if you're the char DJ, it's not. It's just I don't know. I think that I still want to watch. I never post anything that's terrible, but I don't really think about it as much because I don't have as many eyes on me as Josh does.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my business classes, Professor Custis taught us a method of thinking where you have to be able to answer 3 questions. You have to be able to answer, is it legal? Which hopefully the answer to that's always yes. You have to be able to answer, is it something that reflects my values? And is this something that I would be comfortable with being on the front page of a newspaper? Yeah. So it's really that last question that really helps me determine what I post and don't post on social media, because a lot of the times there are a lot of people looking to me and they see it through the student body president lens. And whether I'm downtown or in personal life or something like that, that lens is always there no matter what it is, even when I'm done with my term in a month and a half. Yeah. So it's something that I'm definitely very cognizant of. Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the ways USD students go viral across campus is the Dakota Days video. And Keaton, you helped work on that this year, so let's take a look. Keaton, you kind of helped Byron direct him to different places during D-Days. Yeah. So can you just tell me about what that was like?
Yeah, so I have known Byron for a while, and he was just kind of like, you know, I don't go here anymore, obviously, since he's like 25. And he's like, I don't really know what's happening, so I know that you're gonna know everything that's happening on campus, so you just need to like tell me where to go. So I was like, all right, man. I'm like, just don't film me that much. And then I watched the video and it's like 90% me, and I'm just like, nice, Byron. Like, but I think just by virtue of being around him the whole time, it was like, it wasn't like I was trying to get on camera, but it was just, I don't know. It was fun, and he's really good at what he does. And I mean, regardless of what you think of the video and what people are doing in it, I think it's really well made, and the attention to detail is great.
Definitely. Do you think that people act differently when that camera starts to come around and they know that there's the opportunity for them to be seen? How could you talk about that a little bit?
I mean, nobody, on an average Friday night, nobody does a backflip into a dumpster. Like, I mean, it's just, oh, the camera's on, let me go do the dumbest thing I can possibly think of. And I mean, it's just, it's a big thing of, like, how can I get on it? Like, just that, I mean, you go back to the dopamine rush thing. Like, it gives people kind of that rush to be, when they get that attention when they're on camera. And in the heat of the moment, it's like, this is a great idea. And then in retrospect, it's like, why did I do that? But yeah, people definitely act different when the camera rolls around.
Yeah,
that was huge.
So Josh, from your perspective, what do you think this video, or even just people acting like that in general, like social media posts, because this isn't just the Dakota Days video, like there's people posting this stuff on their Instagram story, their Snapchat stories on the weekend, different things like that. What does that do for the image of this university and enrollment in people, their expectations coming to USD?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to our student ambassadors that give tours, and they say that probably once or twice a week, one of their tours asks, is the D-Days video actually what the culture is like here? And I mean, the answer to that's no. Like that video, does stuff like that happen sometimes on campus or like in Vermillion? Yeah, sometimes that does happen, but that's not a snapshot of what campus life is here at USD. It's outside of university, not in a school-sanctioned event, so it's not something that the university is directly tied to, but it definitely has impacts on the perception of what it means to go to the University of South Dakota.
Yeah.
In some regards, though, it's like, some people will ask that question, but they'll say it in a different sense, like, dude, does the D-Days video, you know what I mean? So it's like, and it's a double-edged sword. You have people that want to come here because of that, which is not the right reason to want to go to school somewhere, but I mean, that is part of the college experience, and it might be that little bit that you like to like hide from the world, but obviously it is over-exaggerated, but it happens, and I mean, I don't know.
So do you think that social media, I mean, would you guys both agree that social media is a huge part of our lives and our peers' lives?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think your reaction would be if you woke up tomorrow and your social media was just gone? Or you had like 0 followers on all of your social media?
I think the thing about social media is it puts numbers to your community. And when you see that you have 1,700 followers on Twitter and you have 3,000 followers on Instagram, it makes it look like you have a large community, a lot of people that you can confide in, people you can talk to, and like that's a numerical representation of who you're around. If all that was gone. You equate that to, well, not only is my online community gone, it's a reflection of who my personal community is, and that means that's gone too. So I think we take what's going on here in the real world and we see it on our cell phones and we equate the two together. So, I mean, I would be distraught, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know, I'd be a little upset because I like having my Twitter and I like having everything, but I don't think that it's not just like your social media is going to disappear and people are going to forget who you are. You can get that back. But just the hassle of going through and like, oh, I need to re-add this person, like do this stuff. It's just kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But it'd be more of an inconvenience than like a nightmare, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I see, like, at the tip of my cell phone, I have access to 3,000 of my closest friends on Instagram and 1,500 of my closest friends on Twitter. Whereas, like, is there ever going to be a time where all those people are actually physically together around me? Absolutely not.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's kind of, it creates that sense sometimes that maybe you have more people that care about you than you, I mean, if your social media were to go away and your kind of audience goes away, it'd be interesting to see, like, who really is sticking around there. It'd be odd. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, they liked my picture, they're my friend. It's like, and that's not really how it works. So.
I know people who will like buy presets and like spend money to make sure that they're Insta aesthetic. So does that go back to, is your social media actually a real representation of your life?
100% goes back
with
to
that. Like, I don't know, what do you guys think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. It's how can I make my life look as good as it possibly can? But at the same time, if I'm gonna be watching someone's life, I want it to like look good too. So I'm gonna critique it, be like, wow, that's a cool picture. They must have a cool life, and that's what they want you to think, I guess. So.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, absolutely. I think it's extremely important to be genuine on social media and try not to it's very tempting to want to portray yourself as the ideal version of yourself that you want to be. But something that I've started to do is I follow a lot of inspo accounts on Instagram and I screenshot, they do like some fancy artwork or something that I'm not capable of doing myself. Then I share it on my story and it's something like very Lin-Manuel Miranda type of aesthetic. Like if you're struggling today, that's okay, we're all struggling.
Yeah.
And usually every time it's something like 15 to 20 people doing some sort of reaction to it, like saying this is so important. And it shows that I feel like there's an untapped community that uses the social media platforms to want to create better versions of themselves, but they don't know how. So they feel these things inside that they're inadequate and they're not able to be a great person or the best version of themselves that they can be. But when you start talking like, hey, like, yeah, I flashed the title student body president, but I still struggle all the time. I think that's the untapped portion of social media that we really need to start getting into.
Yeah. I think you see it a lot now with people, you know, a lot of people use the story feature to kind of like showcase, like, I'm doing well today. Like, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go get coffee, and I'm gonna do my homework, and then I'm gonna post the pictures. That's like kind of that validation of, I did something today.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that a lot more.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for being on our first episode of Wake Up Vermillion. Your perspectives were very insightful to USD's community. After the break, we'll be back with this week's top fake news headlines and a look at how far USD students will go to be in the Dakota Days video. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm your host, Rachel Newville, and these are this week's top fake news headlines. This last week has been called the worst week in journalism. But when Googling Worst Week in Journalism, it seems there are 7 days every few months that earn the title. Just this past week, there was an uncorroborated story out of BuzzFeed News contradicting viral videos of the same incident and 1,000 journalists laid off across America. These are troubling times for information sharing and journalism, which is why our Wake Up Vermillion team has decided to take a few minutes of each show to review the top headlines in fake news. To start, we first need to understand the types of fake news. It can be broken into 4 categories: deliberate misinformation, false headlines, social media sharing, and satire. Deliberate misinformation is untrue news made for profit that targets different demographics that want to believe the information is true. False headlines are news items that have a headline that says something different than the contents of the story. This can also be considered clickbait and is misleading at best and untrue at worst. Social media sharing is when creators of fake news content use social media to spread a story in a short amount of time. Satire is a well-known type of fake news and takes a true fact, event, or story and purposely twists it to comment on society, but still has the potential to spread like real news if viewers don't understand the difference. The Onion and SNL's Weekend Update are 2 of the more popular satire news outlets. SNL's Michael Che describes this best on last week's episode of Weekend Update.
Look, BuzzFeed, I think it's great. We all think it's great that you want to help, but this isn't really what we need from you. Y'all are BuzzFeed. You do memes and lists. Everybody's got that aunt who has roaches, and every Thanksgiving, she's like, hey, y'all, what should I bring? And we're like, ice? You bring the ice because we don't want to be picking raisins out of the turkey. That's you, BuzzFeed. You bring the ice. You know, as Dr. King once said, don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you are used to. There's no shame in that. We all play a role. Look, sometimes kids come up to me and they'll say, Michael Che, I get all my news from you. And I say, don't do that. I bring the ice.
Thanks for knowing that you bring the ice, Michael Che. This brings us to the BuzzFeed bombshell that was dropped on Thursday. BuzzFeed reporters Anthony Cormer and Jason Leopold published a story saying that President Trump directed Michael Cohen to lie to Congress. News outlets across the country were quick to echo the story's information without confirming the claims themselves.
The story, which has not been confirmed by NBC News, we should note CNN has not independently confirmed BuzzFeed's reporting, nor, for that matter, has anyone else. An explosive new report that, if
you believe the reporting, if this is confirmed, if all of this is true, if true, we don't have sourcing that confirms this story, but we're not getting steered off of it.
We don't know for sure. You said you couldn't corroborate this. If true,
this is a potentially very big development.
If it's true.
Word of the story spread so far and wide that the Office of the Special Counsel felt the need to release a statement disputing BuzzFeed News' report. This is where it can be confusing to find what information is accurate. When looking at stories, it's important to notice the if it's true or unconfirmed statements that start a story. Another media controversy began after videos were posted one after another, all showing different accounts of an incident between 3 groups at the Lincoln Memorial: Indigenous rights activists from Michigan, Catholic schoolboys from Kentucky, and Hebrew Israelites from D.C. Last Monday, a video of a Native American elder singing and playing a prayer song among a group of students surfaced. The focus of the video being him standing face-to-face with 11th grader Nick Sandmann. As the video went viral, more videos began to surface, showing different perspectives of the incident.
Video shows Phillips approaching the students, who had gathered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. It is unclear in videos if the students moved closer to the Black Hebrew Israelites, but Phillips told the Post he was trying to diffuse the tension.
I was surrounded. We were surrounded. No matter which way we went, we would have to go through that mob. When that young man blocked my retreat, decided to stand in front of me when I was trying to make my way out of there, he put himself in front of me. So I stopped, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take another step, but he wouldn't move. I took another step, he wouldn't move.
After the Post interviewed Phillips, Sandmann released a statement to the public, giving his account of the incident. It didn't include an apology. Sandmann said Phillips locked eyes with him. and came within inches of his face. He said he believed that by remaining motionless, he could defuse the situation. Sandmann also said a member of Phillips's group began yelling at a student. He motioned to his classmate to stop engaging. Sandmann also said Phillips did not attempt to go around him, and that he felt singled out. Sandmann continued that he was not intentionally making faces at the protester. He said he smiled, but did this to show he was not going to become angry.
This incident isn't the first and won't be the last time there are multiple perspectives voiced on an issue. There are multiple perspectives of every story, and it's the media's job to seek out different views. However, it is impossible to get every view into one article or news clip. This is why it is also our job as students and media consumers to seek out multiple truths to get a fuller understanding of an issue before we take action. And that's this week's top fake news headlines. After the break, we find out what students would do to be in the D-Days video. Stay with us.
Oh my gosh,
What are you reading?
an article saying Abbott's taking his job back.
There's no way that's true.
It says so right here.
I wish there was a way we could get reliable news information.
The Vermillion Area Arts Council believes the vibrant presence of the visual, performance, and literary arts is essential to a sustainable community, so come get creative at the VAC.
D-Days, the Christmas of USD. We all sit in anticipation and wait for the release of the beloved D-Days video, where we secretly hope to see our friends, family, loved ones, or even ourselves in the production of the year.
This is what USD looks like on a regular day, but students before they've even come to USD have seen the D-Days video even back in high school. I'm so excited to talk to students in the muck and see what the craziest thing they've ever seen done for the D-Days video. Okay, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen someone do to get on the D-Days video?
Drink until they almost die.
What's the craziest thing you'd ever do to get on the D-Days video?
It's not for the public airways.
Thank you. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, what is the craziest thing you've ever seen someone do to get on the D-Days video?
I saw somebody jump off the roof of a house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you'd ever do to get on the D-Days video?
I'd jump off the roof of a house.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen someone do?
I refuse to answer this question.
Jump off the tree and tailgating and smash his head with a beer can as he's like going down, spraying it everywhere, and then chucked it at a police officer and ran the opposite way. It was hilarious.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen someone do to get on the D-Days video?
To get on the D-Days video? Oh man, I've seen people like jump off a roof and land on a table before. That's probably the craziest thing.
What's the craziest thing you'd ever do to get on the D-Days video?
I don't really want to be on the D-Days video.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen someone do?
Oh, yeah, it's just the ridiculous amounts of alcohol that people consume.
So far, nobody has said they'd die, but honestly surprising. Hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, what's up?
What's the craziest thing you'd ever do to get on the D-Days video?
Craziest thing I do to get on the D-Days video? I couldn't tell you. Probably something really embarrassing. Blackout and punch that guy. I didn't make it for the D-Days video for that though.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen someone do to get on the D-Days video?
Probably seeing the dude jump off a roof onto the table. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing you'd ever do to get on the D-Days video?
Probably jump off a building.
How high? How high of a building?
Probably one story.
Only one story?
I mean, 2 stories, I would probably break my legs. So.
Yeah, but it's D-Days, dude.
Ah, yeah, that is true. D-Days. Full send.
I would also break my legs for D-Days. What's the craziest thing you'd ever do to get on the D-Days video?
On the D-Days video?
Yeah.
I'd probably punch somebody really hard.
Really hard? Like someone you know or just someone random?
I feel like it'd be funny if it was somebody I knew. But I mean, if a stranger provokes it, I mean, why not? Like, it's D-Days.
Thanks, Kelly. I would definitely not break my legs for D-Days. Thanks for joining us on this week's Wake Up Vermillion. A special thanks to Coyote News for letting us use their studio. Follow us on social media at Wake Up Vermillion and let us know what you want us to talk about. Wake up and have a great day, Verm. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.